You're listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, telling you everything you need to know about the Saints, Pelicans, and a whole lot more.
Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guy, and we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fan. I'm Big Q. And in studio to my left is DC in-house. What's going on, DC? How you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm trying to find these rubies, gold, and diamonds that Mickey Luton's been promised everybody. Trying to figure out where all the money at.
Well, it's gonna be an exciting show there, DC, man. We got a lot of stuff to cover. Saints-related matters. This is a full, straight-out Saints podcast. In the first hour, we'll be breaking down all the latest Saints news and notes as the free agency period is broken wide open.
We got a new defense now for sure. And
we got a few more pieces to add along with drew-brees. So in this segment and in this show in particular, we'll be breaking down a lot of stuff covering that. We'll talk about drew-brees' contract, his new contract. Of course, we got the particulars on that agreement. I know a lot of people out there thinking that the deal was initially...
Give them the truth. Nobody else ain't telling the truth.
They're not telling you the truth about drew-brees' contract. We have the full truth on that contract. We'll give you all of the particulars and read it and break it down to you in the show as well. We'll also cover the free agent acquisitions of Patrick Robinson, the old Saint renewed. Who say... If you were drafted by a team that you can't
I said that.
No,
Patrick Robinson came back, and Raphael Bush also came back.
I wasn't really aiming in that.
It's clear. Let me fix it. But
I wasn't aiming at it.
If you play for the Saints secondary, you can leave and come back.
Oh,
how about that?
Oh,
nah. Chase Daniels left and came back too, and so did Jari Evans. And a bunch of other players, so
that's good.
Obviously, we're a very forgiving franchise. And
well,
we was trying to get Jimmy Graham back.
I was about to say that Jimmy didn't feel the love.
I can't let you have the
Jimmy Graham actually went to another team. We'll give you that information
they gave
as well.
$30 million. I don't blame him.
We'll break that down. But besides Patrick Robinson returning home to the team that drafted him in 2010, out of Florida State, remember that guy? He's back, but a better player, and also he has a Super Bowl ring.
He's a pretty good player when we had him. It just wasn't the number one.
We'll break that down in today's podcast. We'll talk about the latest linebacker. Once again, for 3 years running, and I think it's more than that. The Saints have bring in another linebacker, and this guy is Demario Davis. Now, this is an excellent
big signing.
Big signing. We're surprised by this.
Jonathan Vilma-S, huh?
This is big. Yeah. They went to where Vilma came back, and he's a pretty good guy. He's pretty good. He's 29 years old. I think the thing that they like about the guy is stability. He doesn't get hurt.
That's what we
a
need
la
right
Daniel Ellerby. But this guy, Demario Davis, will break down his contract. We'll give some more particulars on that as well. Other news pertaining to it, the Saints got a new quarterback to back up the quarterback.
Savage.
He is a savage. Literally, his name is Tom Savage. He was the backup quarterback behind Deshaun Watson in Houston.
Him and Mark Ingram should be best friends. Huh? Mark Ingram loves saying that.
Yeah, he should.
Savage.
Should wear his jersey now.
Savage.
So now that we got Tom Savage in the building, he'll be the backup behind drew-brees, and also you got Taysom Hill in there. Does this kind of pervert the Saints?
That's the heir apparent,
Does this pervert the Saints from perhaps taking a quarterback like DC wanted them to do in the previous podcast?
Man,
we'll get into it.
We had three quarterbacks last year, and it was about to draft Mahomes. You think that was a rumor?
That's true. They
ain't
did say
stopping
that.
Nothing.
Smart. And then another thing, the Saints tendered Willie Snead. That was the only of the restricted guys that they tendered. Snead was tendered the lowest tender. Worth $1.9 million. Will he sign? Tender. That's the thing. He got a real expensive chicken tender. And, of course, we're going to go into the rest of this, but the Saints getting a visit from a very important player. We lose Jimmy Graham in the Jimmy Graham sweepstakes as well as Muhammad Wilkerson. Lose both those guys to the same team, but Green Bay opens up a gift to the world in the personage of Jordy Nelson, who has three teams on his little mini tour that he's going to do. And the Saints are the third of the three, hopefully.
Ooh.
The Saints want to have Jordy Nelson. I could tell by some of the reports they really want him. Some of the team guys were saying about it.
We got enough money to get him. We done signed 3 people
good.
today.
We're going to have to – that's another thing.
We signed 4 people in free agency already. So can we afford Jordy Nelson at this point?
I think when Mickey Illuminatics of Illuminatics from Mickey Loomis, anything is possible.
Yeah,
so let's look at this. Also, Saints still they want Alex Okafor, who's drawing interest from Tampa Bay and other clubs. Should we sign Okafor back? We'll dive into that.
I think we should.
And then also Senio Calamente, one of the utility nines we had here for many years, and the guys that listen to the Sports Coma, we like to give a big shout out and big congratulatory hands up and salute to Senio Calamente as he sadly is leaving us, but for better grounds. He gets a new deal.
Shout out to you, bro. We couldn't have did it without you.
3-year, $12 million deal from the Houston
Texans. What would we
Texans
have been
without Senio Calamente?
In the playoff games when
playing guard, playing center,
Pete
playing
went
tackle.
Pete went down in that Minnesota game. I know we didn't win, but he was a big part of us being able to come back. He had to step in at guard, man. He did his thing.
We're gonna also talk. We're gonna give some more praise to Calamente. Also, we're gonna talk about other Saints that went elsewhere as well. Chase Daniels was one of them. Raphael Bush.
Chase Daniels was chasing his dreams. Huh?
And we're gonna
got him 10 more mil, man. Chase Daniels is the highest paid backup quarterback I ever seen, dude.
Don't play.
I ain't
much.
never seen him play in an official game. But he didn't
cash.
He made a career out of being a backup. That's what's up.
Pretty much.
I think if I have a son, I'm going to just let him throw the football around and aspire to be Chase Daniels. I ain't got to worry about CTE or nothing.
Yeah. Chase Daniels is amazing, man. But we also have more information on other Saints that went elsewhere, including Raphael Bush. And some more information on some unrestricted guys that's unrestricted. Delvin Breaux, Brandon Coleman will give you some information on those guys in today's show. And the first segment. In the second hour of the show, we'll be going over a full bevy of the top 20 to 25 NFL free agents that signed deals. We'll cover that in the second hour. Now, let's get right into it. The Saints' Drew Brees contract is the first thing because there is no deal. There is no Saints that without Drew Brees. And the particulars of this deal is, of course, they signed him. They waited to the very last moment till they possibly could sign Drew, and they get him. Now, of course, we've been hearing the flack about the deal being a 2-year deal worth $50 million, and then we heard one say it's a 1-year deal worth $24 million with voidable years. That is a portion of it, but let's give you the entire thing and you decipher for yourself. The deal is more complex than initially reported. It's 2 years for $50 million on paper. It's 3 years, a 3-year deal for $70 million. But the third year for $20 million is set to void automatically in March 2020. All right, so that's the actual particulars of the deal dealing with Drew Brees. Now, like we said, the third year of the deal is a shell year. It voids automatically if Brees is on the roster on the last day of the 2019 league year, which will be in March 2020. Again, the extra year on the contract is for purposes of spreading Brees' dead money out into the future. Okay? Now, that's one of the things we want to overemphasize. Now, Brees did not receive an official signing bonus on this deal, but he get a $13.5 million roster bonus, which was guaranteed at signing. And that's according to Joel Corey. He's a former agent who's now a salary cap expert at CBS Sports. So this is where some of this information is coming from, as they report and explains that the move will spread the roster bonus equally across the 3 years of the deal, similar to a signing bonus. So there you go. So each year of the 3 years from 2018 to 2020 will include a $4.5 million cap hit for this roster bonus. Each year also will include $6 million in dead money from the signing bonus on the previous contract as well. So here you are. Then a total guaranteed $27 million in 2018. Then a base salary of $10.2. That is actually guaranteed. The roster bonus is $13.5 million guaranteed at signing. The other roster bonus is $3.3 million guaranteed on Friday, March the 16th. Then it's a cap hit in 2018 of $24 million. In 2019, The base salary is then $11.05 million. The roster bonus is $11.95 million due the third day of the 2019 league year. Then the cap hit is $33.5 million, which will be lowered with a restructured agreement next year. Then in 2020, the base salary goes up to $20 million, and it voids automatically if Breeze is on a roster the last day of the 2019 league year. Now the cap hit for 2020 is $2.5 million, which will be raised if there's a restructure for that next year. So that is the particulars on the Drew Brees' contract deal that was released according to CBS Sports. Now, we're just hitting you with that because I know a lot of people don't know the particulars. They thinking it's a 1-year deal, but they're kind of spreading this money out. And like DC asked the question about, do we have the money to keep going after these guys? Well, obviously we do. And we're not just looking at Drew Brees. I think the Saints going to make a few.
For $24 million against the cap.
So
we just signed 4 players.
So if that's the case, then where's the?
We only had $30 million in cap room.
So what's going to happen here is we're going to see some restructurings. We're going to see a couple of people get released, a la Kobe Fleener. So
I really like that guy.
You're going to see some stuff happening coming up real soon with the Saints, man, as they continue to improve upon this team. Now, that's just some of the particulars dealing with the Drew Brees contract, and just to set everything straight. Now that you know you're more empowered, let's move into the discussion about Drew Brees coming back, DC. Let's make it quick because we need to go into a few more topics pertaining to it. So
break down that contract. You might as well did the negotiation, man.
That was pretty. That sounded like one of the agents doing the contract, didn't it? But anyway, let's talk about Drew Brees' impact and significance moving forward. Now, of course, the plan years as it's perceived, as you just broke down that contract going ahead. This sounds like to me the Saints are loading up for one really good run at the Super Bowl here. That's my take on it. And I just think that is terrific. Now, Drew Brees, another thing about the money. Drew Brees is a guy that's like Peyton Manning in terms of how he protects his image. He's a quiet boy image, but let me tell you something about Drew Brees. Drew Brees is a wicked good businessman. He had all these businesses around.
How wicked good go together?
Wicked good. Wicked good. If you had a girlfriend that was ever wicked good, you know just what I'm talking about, Playboy.
Good girlfriend.
Oh yeah, buddy. But anyway, let's keep it's a family show. But anyway, let's keep it moving. But Drew Brees is an excellent businessman. He's about his money. He wants his money. He earned everything. Like I say, he's a small guy. Nobody really gave him a chance. He rose to the level. He's earned every damn penny that he made. He's a smart businessman, and I applaud Drew for getting every dollar he possibly can for his sweat and tears, because that's how it's supposed to be. Even in the regular work world where you go, do not settle for less. Always get the most for your labor, because really your labor is priceless. But so why not get the most for it? So quickly, DC, what's your take on Drew Brees coming back to be the Saints quarterback one more again?
I think it's a pretty good signing. It's pretty much the only option you have. I mean, we really didn't.
Yeah.
Well, what are you going to do? You're going to go get Kirk Cousins?
$18 million on his salary?
You're going to go get Kirk Cousins and pay him more money? And he's probably not even as good as Drew Brees, even though Drew Brees is 39. Like, what do you really do? So we did exactly what we were supposed to do. Everybody knew this was going to happen. Roughly on paper, judging from what they said, he got about $3 million more than what he was getting before. We get a nice deal to where we can still make moves. He only count $10 million against the cap. That's what they're saying. The specific cap where you can make moves with. So,
right. Just $10 million.
It's a real good thing, man. Drew Brees tried to do the right thing. They tried to do the right thing. I think it's a 50-50 balance. Everybody happy.
Yes, everybody is happy, and they're tooling up the team, man, to make a run. In the Saints, man, they're really looking at the defense and secondary-wise in the middle of the defense where we needed help. Now, of course, they will talk about linebackers, but they got a real good one and a solid cornerback in today's signings as well. We'll cover that on the other side of the break, as well as we have some other news and notes we'll hit you with pertaining to the Saints and former
good if you hard on cornerbacks.
I am, but I'm actually pleasantly pleased with this one because this will push P.J. Williams out to the fourth nickel spot, and I'm very happy about that. So when we come back on the other side of the break, we'll get more into those topics and subjects pertaining to the Saints and the free agency period. You're listening to the Sports Coma, the Free Agent Frenzy edition. Stay with us. What's up, sports world? This Big Q from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Talking to you about the website, theposhlifestyle.com. That's right, poshlifestyle.com. A great website where you can get great products at great prices. They sell organic herbs, vitamins, supplements, water filters for your home, EMF and cell phone radiation protection, healing magnetics and healing crystals, personal protection devices like cell phones, stun guns, and mace spray, organic deodorants, shampoos, soaps, toothpaste, and more. They also sell 10A grade Brazilian hair. 10A music is available now. All kind of the latest downloadable mixtapes. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to theposhlifestyle.com. That's the Posh Lifestyle, life spelled with a Y, LYFE, style.com. Put in the Sports Coma for the 10% discount on your purchase. It's a win-win. So get your mind and body right with the Posh Lifestyle.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Eye View, the new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelicans.
Attention, everyone.
Get breakdown on games, free agent signings and potential moves, unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Valley. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
Wow, what a huge honor it is to be named NBA 2K18 Legend Edition cover athlete. I really wouldn't be here without the guidance, love, and support of my mom and dad. Also, I'd like to thank my coaches, both college and professional. But most of all, I'd like to thank Kobe Bryant. He was the NBA 2K Legend cover athlete first. He's so awesome and handsome and has really nice natural teeth. Wait, what? I'll be looking at his teeth. This ain't over, Kobe. Payback's gonna be fun.
Let me tell you about a news site that carries the news that you would want to know. News that's not the same as the rest of lamestream media, but a site that lets you know about the most important news on health, economics, tech, entertainment, science, food, sports, world news, positive living, paradigm shift, and a lot more. Go to theposhreportonline.co. That's right, theposhreportonline.co. Learn more. And remember, challenge everything.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Welcome back to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guy. And we're talking about the free agent frenzy that the Saints basically put themselves in with. And we have a drew-brees signing from the prior break. We broke down this agreement and let you know about that. In this particular break, we'll get more into the signings of new Saints. We already covered Kurt Coleman, the latest free agent and replacement for Kenny Vaccaro. The soon-to-be paid Kenny Vaccaro. Kurt Coleman comes in as an experienced guy to help those youngsters out in the secondary. And here we go again. We got two more guys brought in, one of which we're familiar with, and Patrick Robinson. Of course, if you remember, Robinson was a guy that was drafted by the Saints 8 years ago out of Florida State. He did okay here. He really did okay here for the Saints for many years. The Saints ultimately end up not bringing him back. He goes on to different teams and went to the Chargers. I remember he ended up in a few other places. Yeah, he had a 1-year deal with them, ended up in a few other places. But ultimately, he ended up with the Eagles, in which he really turned his career around. And he also had a great year with the Eagles, playing in that cornerback position, helped them win the Super Bowl. So he comes back
in the Vikings game.
Come back with a Super Bowl ring on his finger. You can't beat that. No. And Patrick Robinson said, you know what? I want to go back home. And he's coming back home to New Orleans. So welcome back, Patrick Robinson. I'd like to give you a shout-out, brother. Welcome back to New Orleans. And, of course, the Saints net this brother on a 4-year deal. It's for 4 years at $20 million. $10 million of it is guaranteed. So that's a good contract for Patrick Robinson. And they gave him a $5
million signing bonus already. So, again, on the cap issue, he's probably only going to count against, a couple of million this year? on the cap.
Right. So let's look at it like this. Then there's the other guy, Demario Davis, who signed it. But before we get into Demario, let's now that we covered the contract for Patrick Robinson, let's talk about impact. What does Patrick Robinson play in the scheme?
Amazing impact. If you don't already know, those new to the game Saints fans, we had Patrick Robinson for 5 years. I remember watching him. I never felt like Patrick Robinson was a bad cornerback, but he got burned. He did get beat, but we had him playing number one receivers. He was our number one cornerback. We took him, I think, like a top 10 pick. This guy was very, very talented coming out of Florida State. Some people called him the next Deion Sanders. He didn't quite pan out to be that.
That's a big lofty thing to play
exactly.
up to. Yeah.
But what he can do, he can cover those quick, twitchy receivers, and he's an excellent slot corner. The only ones I think probably better than him, you would have to look at Denver and what they had going on over there. Teams like that, you had to be a pretty elite team to have a better situation than what they had at the slot. So this is a grade A to me signing. This is the cornerback that I felt we should have got. Y'all heard me and Big Q go back and forth all about Malcolm Butler. This is what DC wanted, y'all. A low-tier guy that's excellent for not a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? And I think this will improve the cornerback rotation tremendously because he can also play outside if we need him to, if Ken Crawley look like he ain't handling this business on one of them type of days.
Well, that's a big move because it does solidify the cornerback. I don't think this is by far the end. I can see them still approaching it at some angle to add some more talent.
Draft a low tier cornerback.
Might get somebody
that
else
would be smart
for competition purposes.
We still got Justin Hardy and Arthur Millette, who I think can have some potential and promise. We don't know what those guys can do. They might shock us and maybe pass up P.J. Williams on a rotation. Who knows?
Well,
when training camp get here.
Well, you get two really nice pieces in the secondary, veteran guys, as opposed to what the movement was last year. The Saints in the secondary was looking at some of them youngsters. Now that they got the youngsters that they want.
You remember the Minnesota Miracle, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's what that youth cost us.
That's what Kurt Coleman comes in and will prevent. But here's Patrick Robinson with all those experience years, too, as a journeyman now coming back home, and would likely will probably finish up his career here in New Orleans, hopefully. And then let's move on to Demario Davis. Now, of course, a lot of Saints fans might not be familiar with Demario Davis. He's a former Jet linebacker who the Saints have signed to a 3-year deal worth $24 million, including the $18 million of the $24 million is guaranteed. That's a big, significant portion of his contract. What is the term? I'm looking. Guaranteed. Now, what makes it possible for this move is that the Saints do like the fact that this guy is very durable. He doesn't miss any football. And he recorded a career high 5 sacks last year, and the guy had 135 total tackles. 135 total tackles. That's pretty good.
Only the Buffalo linebacker, I think. What is his name?
Preston Brown?
Preston Brown had more at 144. This is probably, you had 2 or 3 of them top tier, and he's one of them, man. I think this is an amazing signing. Mike Nolan definitely needs to help him out in the one area that he's weak on, which is pass coverage. He's not the best pass coverage.
I wouldn't even say that about
He's not horrible, though.
Right. I mean, from what I was looking,
he can be every down linebacker, in my opinion.
It is, because with the tape I was watching on Demario Davis is that he can cover. He can cover not just the run, but he can play the pass as well. And he's very smart, and he doesn't miss any tackles. Once he puts his hands on you, he got you.
And y'all got to think how big this is. Also, with the addition of Anzalone coming back, who looked pretty good as a rookie.
Hold on, DC. Let me stop you before you feed him too much, because we need to get into that right quick. Let's talk about the contributions of Demario Davis. Now, for instance, the Saints signed Demario Davis. The guy's 29 years old. Okay, he's 29 years old, and that's kind of weird that they give a 29-year-old linebacker, to me, a 3-year deal worth $24 million.
Jonathan Vilma, man. Jonathan Vilma was about 28.
28,
we did
but
the same
28 is
thing.
different from 29, though.
Oh, come on, man. You nitpicking, bro.
No.
It's like saying I got a 2018
that this is a lot of money.
Then I got a 2017.
But this is a lot of money for a guy. You give him a 3-year deal, he's going to be here till he's, 32?
Well, it's guaranteed to, $18 million is all that's guaranteed. And you're looking at, that's about what? $8 million. Well, not even $8 million a year.
No,
that's right around 6, somewhere around.
But with age aside, though, I'm not saying that the age is slowing him down because we got the ageless one, Drew Brees, operating under quarterback. So I'm not saying that.
Linebackers is a little different.
It's different with linebacker, exactly.
It's like a running back.
Now let's exclude that for a second, and we'll just pick that up in a later episode. But let's talk about Demario Davis' contribution to the Saints defense. Obviously, he coming in to start. Where does that put him among the linebackers we currently have?
Oh, man, that is no contest. He's the number one guy, man.
Yes.
Over yes.
Over Klein?
Yes.
Over Klein.
Yes. AJ Klein is overrated. He's not
he's not
yes,
overrated.
he is, man.
He's not
a bad linebacker.
I don't agree with that.
Okay, don't get me wrong. But AJ Klein ain't the heir apparent to nothing, man. He's not Luke Kuechly. You know what I'm saying? He's
not Luke Kuechly.
He's a good stand-in.
Because if he was, they wouldn't need Demario
I think
Davis.
he's a good Swiss Army knife. He can play any position along those 3 positions, and I think he's a good linebacker. But when you're talking about a guy like Demario Davis who records 135 tackles in one season, it's no contest, man. It's not even close. This ain't even this is not even conversation. So you see what they paid him, and you see what they paid AJ Klein. So that clearly lets you know what time it is, right there. So
right,
you know what it is. I like AJ Klein. No disrespect to you, bro, but you're not Demario Davis. This is a different breed. If we're putting it on a tier level, you got tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. AJ Klein's tier 3. This guy's clearly tier 1, and Anzalone maybe can be tier 2.
I don't know. I think it's going to be. It's when you talk about production. Obviously, the Saints looking at the fact that they want somebody who's going to be there. This guy doesn't. This guy is like the Drew Brees of linebackers. You know, he doesn't miss games.
Our linebackers always get hurt. We've
right.
had hurt
and
linebackers for the last 4 or 5 years.
Exactly. Yeah, Anzalone went down. AJ Klein went down. Then you have you're working on with your third and fourth linebackers last year.
We finally gonna see my dream of having a 3-4 package. You think?
I don't think so. I won't go
that will make you happy. You get your man AJ Klein out there. You get to have Demario Davis out there. They're both out there. You get,
I don't think
maybe
so.
Maybe Kakaha could play some type of slasher role in that package and go after the quarterback.
Kakaha will never see linebacker position ever again. But that's interesting. I don't think the 3-4. I think the Saints are looking at they
just
can have
just a small package
but have a
4-3,
which
3-4
the base defense still is listed as a 4-3.
Right.
We know about
Belichick runs 3-4 all the time. He runs a base 4-3.
But remember, we had this conversation about when we talked about why they running the 3 safety look so much, because the 3 safety look had better personnel than the injured linebackers they was operating with the 4-3. So
that's why
that
we
was
had
something we was looking at as
debate
well.
about linebacker being a pressing need, and you was like, well, no.
As long as they can use this right, as long as they can go to the safety, why not? You know, the 3 safety look, why not?
We can still do both.
You can still do both. That makes you even more dangerous, because some games you might need the 4-3 versus the 3 safety look. When you got a team that's can run it on you, you put that 4-3 on them versus a team that might be want to wing it on you.
That 3 safety look.
You're gonna need it, no doubt about it.
The league we're in right now is almost 3 cornerbacks are like starters.
Pretty much. Isn't that amazing? The game has come
changed,
really far. Anyway, that's the end of that. Let's get to the next signing. We got a few minutes before we go to break. Let's talk about the newest Saint acquisition quarterback.
What?
Tom Savage. That's right, Tom Savage. You can't be a
Savage and a Saint.
You could be a Savage Saint. You could be a saintless savage.
A saintless savage.
See? But anyway, the Saints agreed to a deal. The particulars wasn't immediately released. With the Saints. Hold on.
He got a 1-year deal.
That's what it is. Okay, here we go. I got it right here.
Numbers.
I got him pulled up here. It's reported by NFLnetwork.com. It's a 1-year deal worth $1.5 million with a $100,000 bonus. $100,000 bonus to Tom Savage to be the quarterback. So 1 year, $1.5 million, $100,000 bonus to become the new backup quarterback to Drew Brees. And of course, the Saints still have Taysom Hill on the bench, so I guess it'll be a battle between the established a veteran quarterback and Taysom Hill, who Sean Payton really liked. Now, DC, how does now quickly before we hit the break, what impact would Tom Savage have to the Saints roster, if any?
Not much, but I think that's pretty good to get a starting quarterback, basically for that price to be your backup. I mean, he was basically a starter in Houston. I think for the preseason, he probably could give us some excitement. He should be able to dominate against lower tier competition. Drew Brees don't get hurt. He's pretty much an NFL Iron Man. So.
Well, that's Tom Savage. When we get back on the other side of the break, we'll have the a discussion on whether or not this will deter the Saints from taking a quarterback in the draft, perhaps. We'll get into that.
No.
And then, of course, we'll cover the other news and notes, particular potential Saints and Jordan Nelson, and a few other news, Alex Okafor, and a couple of other great Saints news. Perhaps. All that on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Forget ESPN or Fox.
Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad G.J. Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.
Thank you for listening to the Pro Media Network, who provides hours and hours of free entertainment to you and yours. If you are benefiting positively from our content, please donate to help us grow our platform by going to www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. That's www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network, and support the true independent artists.
Check out the Crown They Ass World podcast with three kings covering all the news and issues that affect you and the ones you care about. Only on the PRO Media Network.
Hello, New Orleans. You're listening to the Sports Coma, your new #1 podcast on everything Saints, Pelicans, and a lot more. And now, here's your host, Big Q and the guys.
Welcome back to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. We back off break. Talking about the free agent frenzy. The Saints hit the first day of free agency.
Blood in the water.
Running. They pick up 3 new Saints, including one they decided to sign prior to the break. So I guess you can group them all together, including the signing of drew-brees, 5 transactions. Getting your star quarterback back, getting experience in the safety position and the personage of one Kurt Coleman, who will ensure the Minnesota Miracle, as ghastly as that is never repeated ever in the history as long as he's back there. Also, we have Patrick Peterson experience, and he's in the prime of his career, coming off 4 interceptions.
Patrick Robinson, my brother.
I
wish we did have Patrick Peterson.
I'm thinking about that old Hunter Badger and all that kind of stuff. But anyway,
Patrick
Robinson, 4 interceptions last year and a pretty good year, looking for a payday. He got 4 years out the Saints here. He's coming in as a slot man. That they'll make that depth in the secondary a lot better. And then among other things, as well as our new linebacker, middle linebacker, Demario Davis, the hard-hitting, all-world everything guy that just steps in for the Jets last year, had a supreme amount of tackles. It's a supreme tackle. I invite all Saints people who are not familiar with him to look up his highlight films and footage and get familiar with this guy. This guy is a football player.
Yes.
So that's good to see.
Machine.
Always good to get those guys in here. Now, DC, let's talk about some Saints that were here last year in the personage of Willie Snead. Now, Willie Snead, of course, was tendered out of all the other restricted agents that the Saints had, the restricted players that the Saints had. They only tendered one guy. Now, of course, I'm going to say this right now, Delvin Breaux was not tendered. He was the Saints decided to outright release him and Brandon Coleman.
To visit the Broncos, huh?
Yeah, he got a visit with the Broncos, so he might very well might end up there. Brandon Coleman was released as well, but the only one tendered at the lowest tender, which was a $1.9 million tender, was Willie Snead. Now, of course, he's going to go out there and see if he can test the free agent waters and maybe have somebody to kind of give him opportunity. I think Willie Snead will be back in the Saints black and gold for another year at that $1.9 million. I wouldn't say I would be surprised if somebody was to get him, but I don't think so. I think with all the wide receivers that's out there, I think it's a pretty crowded market wide receiver wise. Willie Snead's kind of down after that terrible year he had with all of the crap that happened with the DWI and all this foolishness. He kind of hurt himself coming into this year. I think he'll come back more productive and maybe looking like the Willie Snead of the first year to kind of prove himself all over again to see if he can get a good deal. DC, what's your thoughts on Willie Snead?
Bittersweet. It's a guy that you definitely don't want to lose if you could sign him for pretty minimal.
$1.9 million chicken tender.
Yeah. He had amazing years the last 2 years, but last year he had a drunk driving incident before the season started and pretty much messed everything up with him. You know how Sean Payton is. Once you get in his doghouse, that's a wrap.
Yeah, man.
And then you in a contract year, I'm not about to help you make no money.
Right.
And you doing stupid stuff like that. So hopefully he comes in comes in training camp with a lot of fire, and he turns into that guy that we knew he could be. If so, and we sign a guy like Jordy Nelson or get a tight end, Tyler Eifert, Ebron, all these other people they got out there, man, we're looking at a really dangerous, potent offense. Again, you got the 2011 offense if we can get a tight end. And maybe
don't forget Julius Thomas. He was released by the Dolphins, so he's out there as well. And I remember the Saints looking at
Jenkins,
him. I remember a couple years ago. Ferris Jenkins. I think he's looking at two other teams too. Bill and his team.
He can actually
kind
block,
of built his
though.
team.
He'd probably be a good all-around.
That's true.
Player.
He is that. And he was a second-round draft pick by the Bucks.
He's a first-round draft pick. Huh?
Was it a second? I thought it was a second. We'll have to check
think he's
that.
A first-round draft.
We're going to check that. But anyway,
that's why everybody's so hard on him because he's supposed to be a lot better than what he is.
Right. Well, I think one of the things when you're dealing with the Saints, when you look at what they're doing, you look at them. I remember a couple of years ago, they were looking at Julius Thomas, the pass catching tight end with the Jaguars before he got to the Jags. Right. But that was prior to those injuries. He had a few nicks in that, but as he get along, he kind of – but they were looking at him for a while. I wonder, that'll look kind of interesting to see if the Saints would go in that direction.
Could get him for cheap, man. I mean, he ain't done nothing in the last 3 years, and he had some big old paydays. Jacksonville, I think, gave him a ton of money. And because the Broncos wouldn't pay him, that's why he left. So we probably could get him for cheap, man. He didn't do a lot in Jacksonville at all. He had a massive contract.
Right, he did make a lot of money. That's for certain. But anyway, let's move to our next talk. We're going to talk about the Alex Okafor situation. Of course, we know about George Johnson coming back. The Saints did re-up with George Johnson to bring him back. He had a very special season coming in and getting, 6 sacks and a handful of games. It was pretty interesting. They had middleweight part of the season. I mean, not middleweight, but kind of toward the back end of the season, they bring in George Johnson. And George Johnson gets 4, 5, 6 sacks in that year, last year.
I think he had 4 or 5
Pretty
sacks.
Pretty good for George Johnson.
Yeah.
The Saints read up with him. And I was thinking to myself when that happened, I was like, wow, they signed George Johnson before Alex Okafor. Maybe some concern about that injury that could be kind of keeping the Saints looking. But they're saying that they're interested, but he's going to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Thursday, March the 5th. So what's your taking on that, man? I know you looked into this. What you thinking on it?
I think we take him back if we can get him back. Again, everything is a budget now. Mickey Loomis then paid the people he wanted to pay top dollar to. I don't think we're gonna see any big money signings. Not too many more. We don't have a lot more money to spend, so everything now is gonna be on the budget, and you got to save money for the draft players or create money. So that's a good way to try to negotiate with him. We look at the defense we got. Hey, look, we got a linebacker. We're gonna have a top 5 defense. You want to be a part of this? Come prove yourself again. A lot of pressure will be off for you. Come prove you can play, and we'll give you money, the next year. So they're going to try to get him on another basically prove-it deal again. And Okafor going through an Achilles tear, man, that is a tough injury, man. It is a hell of a rehab.
Well, it's saying that he's well and he's ready to come back.
I know, but he had to go through a lot. And, he was on a prove-it deal last year. At what point did he get paid? You know what I'm saying? So I think he's going to try to see what he can get.
Might have to do it one more year.
But I don't think anybody's going to want to give him major money coming off an Achilles injury because you lose a lot of your athleticism. And that's a big thing, being a defensive end coming off the edge, talking about sacking the quarterback.
Well, the team just told me that Austin Seferian-Jenkins was drafted by Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the second round of the 2014 draft. He played college at Washington. He's 25 years of age, and currently, right now, they're saying that his hometown, I think it's Austin, his hometown. He was born in Wisconsin. So University of Washington. Okay, I see what he's saying. But anyway, they have a few teams looking at him: Bears, Jaguars, Colts, and a few other teams that's interested in Seferian. Now they have some reports linking the Saints to him. I don't know how true that is. I don't see on his so far on his itinerary that he is going to visit the Saints. I don't see that anywhere. So we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe perhaps the Saints do have an idea. They did try to get Jimmy Graham, so they are open and to bringing in another tight end. And Austin Seferian-Jenkins was of course listed, but we'll just have to keep our eyes open. Now they do have a few other tight ends out there. Let's talk about the fact that Jimmy Graham, ultimately, he ends up signing a deal to go to Green Bay along with Muhammad Wilkerson, who both those guys are Saints at the same time were courting. Both of those guys went to Green Bay and whatever reason got wooed by whatever the Green Bay Packers was selling up there. Maybe they ate some hypnotic cheese or whatever, but they ultimately ended up signing deals. Muhammad Wilkerson, a 1-year deal with Green Bay. Jimmy Graham got a 3-year deal, pretty good deal for him to catch passes from Aaron Rodgers. And pretty much what that does is, upon those guys signing, Jimmy Graham in particular, the Packers decide to outright release Jordy Nelson, who's a big wide receiver. He's 33 years old. He had a share of injuries. One of Aaron Rodgers' best friends on the team, favorite targets on the team. He was upset by that move. They didn't give him the option to restructure. They just outright released him. And he's on the free agent market right now looking for a home to go to. And maybe the Saints were one of the 3 teams that's listed as a possible suitor for Jordy Nelson. Let's talk about those possible acquisitions the Saints are possibly still looking at after signing a few of these other guys. Jordy Nelson, what's the thinking on that?
Jordy Nelson would be huge, man. I don't know how much money he's going to command. He had a pretty down season, but he didn't have his quarterback. And before that, he came off a major injury. He's definitely lost a little bit of the speed.
Brett
He's
Hundley,
never a top speed guy.
DC, let me say this. Brett Hundley would make Jerry Rice at his top look like crap. That guy's just terrible.
They actually got rid of Brett Hundley.
And they put Deshaun Kaiser in there. Thank goodness he was garbage, man. And I don't really say that too much about football players.
But Deshaun Kaiser can be the heir apparent?
I think Deshaun Kaiser would be better than with Brett Hundley. Maybe he can make, because Kaiser actually wears a quarterback helmet and not a punter helmet. So I mean,
and he wears pants below his belly button.
The guy just don't look like a quarterback to me, man. I mean, not in terms of his actions, and he can't. I mean, you have all those weapons, and that was the best you could do. You couldn't complete passes downfield. Yeah. Just terrible, man. Anyway,
I look at him like who want to follow that?
Oh man, you talk about mediocre, but we'll go ahead on with the Jordy Nelson comment.
Jordy Nelson is, I think, at this stage in his career, he's still above average receiver. He can do a lot with a guy like Drew Brees or Tom Brady or your heir apparents, but if you put him on a team without great quarterback play, I think you're just wasting your money. But we could get a lot out of him, but the teams that could pay him a lot of money, maybe they don't want to fork over big bucks, so maybe you could see Jordy Nelson in the Saints jersey, which would be amazing, lined up with Ted Ginn and Michael Thomas. What?
Amazing.
That'd be amazing, man. You get Jordy Nelson to be kind of your second outside receiver, another possession type guy.
Could you imagine that?
Yeah, man. And you do that and you get some form of a tight end. I mean, the offense would be unstoppable. Who do you stop? You want to stop the running game? Okay, well, we just pass on you on that.
It's amazing. Anyway, a little background on Jordy Nelson. He was released by the Packers, like I said. He's 6'3", 217 pounds. He racked up about 550 catches for more than 7,800 yards, 69 touchdowns during his 11-year career with the Packers. Amazing. He was a favorite target of Aaron Rodgers and a very good friend. And Rodgers had a very heartfelt tweet about him, and he said he couldn't exemplify the words 87 means to me. No teammate exemplified what it means to be a Packer quite like him. From living in Green Bay full-time, his incredible contribution to the city, state, and region were consistent, reliable on the field. This definitely a sad day, the toughest part of the business. This will never be quite like white lightning. There will never be quite like white lightning. So that was a tweet from Aaron Rodgers. So we might, hopefully, he was in Oakland. He goes to Seattle and then the Saints next. So hopefully the Saints, we can make an offer to woo him. But anyway, we're about to go into our next break. When we come back, we'll finish up our topics dealing on other potential Saints. Tyrann Mathieu, Dontarius Pope, and a few other people that they could be looking at. You're listening to Sports Coma. Stay with us.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is the Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Clear, clean, great-tasting filtered water. We're all thirsty for it. But in the U.S. alone, an estimated 2.5 million plastic bottles are added to the environment each year in search of the perfect drink of water. There has to be a better solution, and there is. Crystal Quest, a leader in the manufacturing of water filtration technology, has been providing clean, drinkable water for 20 years. Crystal Quest has been recognized by such leaders as Consumers Digest, Dr. Oz, and Colin Ingram's The Water Drinking Book, offering our customers the cleanest and most environmental-friendly drinking water at a rating of high purity. With Crystal Quest's water filtration technology, you can rest assured that your water will be crystal clear. Contact our network of authorized distributors and join our thousands of satisfied customers.
Just log into theposhlifestyle.com. Once again, that is theposhlifestyle.com.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Argue, the new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelicans.
Attention, everyone.
Get breakdown on games, free agent signings and potential moves, unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Valley. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Best fucking sports podcast in the country.
Welcome back to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guy. And we're talking about the Saints' newest acquisitions on the first day of free agency. The Saints got busy. Real busy. Not Cleveland Brown busy, but really busy for the Saints organization. They usually sit back and be patient, but they went after Drew-Brees, got him down. They got Patrick Robinson back, 4-year agreement. They got a new middle linebacker. Patrick Robinson is now your new nickel. You got a new middle and inside linebacker that can cover the pass and the run is equally range, Demario Davis. And then there's a safety that we got back there that's going to come in and really help out on the back end in Kurt Coleman. So the Saints made three really good defensive signings to solidify weak areas in the defense. Safety, cornerback, and middle linebacker. What's left? Another pass in, and perhaps a defensive tackle, to help out. Some guard help losing C.O. Calamente like we did, which we're about to get into in just a second. And it's a few holes now that we've closed now with this team as we move closer and closer to the into the free agency period, then perhaps later on next month, late month into the draft. So the Saints closing holes in the defense, man, and improving themselves, moving ahead. Anyway, let's talk about some of these other news dealing with some of the other Saints that left our team. Now, of course, we talk about a guy like we talked about Chase Daniels. I think I made mention of him earlier. Chase Daniels is officially a Chicago Bear. He left and signed a deal to play with the Bears. I think it's a 1-year deal that Chase Daniels signed to back up Mitch Trubisky there to kind of be his backup to kind of mentor him. So Chase finds really good situations. And, of course, Ryan Pace and a few guys are from the Saints organization that know about Chase Daniels and they offer him a job. It's good to have friends, huh?
Oh, definitely.
So there's Chase Daniels. He's now a Chicago Bear. We mentioned Raphael Bush, another Saints. Congratulations to Chase on that. And Raphael Bush, also congratulations to him as well. Raphael Bush was a solid member of the New Orleans Saints last year, playing in special teams and at reserve linebacker spot, filling in a pinch for many when Kenny Vaccaro got injured and whatnot. He was able to come in and make some plays for the Saints. Well, he was rewarded by the Buffalo Bills today, a 2-year contract worth $4.5 million. So big ups to Raphael Bush as he leaves to go to move north there to be the new safety for the for the Buffalo Bills. And we already mentioned about some our restricted guys that were released that was intended. Brandon Coleman is officially out. Delvin Bro is also on the way out as well, as he looking at getting signed perhaps by Denver as they look at taking a look at the young man. And big ups to C.O. Calamente, man. Big ups to C.O. Calamente. He signs a 3-year deal worth $12 million for the Houston Texans. So he'll be protecting rookie phenom, way in a rookie no more, talented quarterback Deshaun Watson, who was excellent last year before he got hurt. He was on my fantasy team. It made me a lot of points.
I think some people might draft him in the first or second round this year.
Yes, he's definitely that. But C.O. Calamente will be protecting him. It's unclear whether it be tackle, guard, or center, being that he's a utility knife that can play all those positions. But big ups to C.O. Calamente, man. He listens to Sports Coma. And we appreciate C.O. For his contributions as a Saint, as well as all our other Saints guys as well. And we like to thank them. Also, we like to give a big shout out to Zach Strief, man. 11 years down here as a Saint. He chose to retire a couple days ago. We like to give a shout out to him as well, his contributions to the New Orleans Saints organization and to the Saints fandom. We appreciate Zach Strief as he retired. Full season, 11 years as a Saint. 7th round draft pick, offensive lineman, came in, worked his butt off, won a Super Bowl ring, earned the respect of his teammates and colleagues, and a fabulous career with the Saints. So big ups to him as well. Now let's go into these potentials, DC. On the top of the potentials list, let's talk about some of the more exciting names. Perhaps a guy that was released due to the fact that he didn't want to take a pay cut from Arizona, Tyrann Mathieu. He's several teams on his list. Saints are at the bottom of the list. I don't think it's a possibility, saying that we got Kurt Coleman in the fold. What say you?
I don't think we could get him. It would have been nice, but I don't think the reason it was just Kurt Coleman. Even if we didn't have Kurt Coleman, if you listen to what Tyrann Mathieu says coming out of college, even what he says now, he doesn't speak too kindly of New Orleans. To him, it's this big, dangerous, spooky place where he could probably get killed. Black people are dying at an alarming rate. So
he said that during the All-Star break. I remember that.
I don't think he is too keen on coming back home, even if we didn't have Kurt Coleman. But we could dream, can't we? It would be a very nice addition if we were able to add him with the 3 safety setup. I don't see a more perfect safety for that than Tyrann Mathieu. It would have been amazing to have him, to be able to drop a safety in the box every once in a while to blitz, and also throw him out on the back end and he can still pick the ball off. He's an amazing player, and I wish him the best, but I don't think he's going to be wearing a Saints uniform.
I have to agree with you. I don't think it's going to happen. Kurt Coleman made it a distinct possibility, and then when they signed Patrick Robinson, that made it an impossibility. I just don't see them adding another guy. You have a nickel, the Ken Crawley basically occupying the second starting cornerback position. Patrick Robinson is now the slot corner, and then you add Kurt Coleman in there. That completes the 3 safety look with Coleman, Williams, and Bell. So there's no room now for a guy like Tyrann Mathieu. Even though he could play safety or he can play corner, there's no room for him. And plus, he's going to want a payday. He refused to take a pay cut in Arizona, and he won't take one on the free agency market, so he's looking for a payday.
The most he's probably going to get is basically what they were not giving to him. Somebody probably fork over $8 or $9 million a year to him.
Right.
To me, he fits perfect in a black and gold uniform. I mean,
he does, but I think it's a little too late.
They still don't have a safety.
I know one guy that it's not happy to see Tyrann Mathieu.
Why is it too late? They don't have a safety. They need a safety.
Black and gold, you said. That's the Saints, right?
I mean, the black and yellow.
Oh, the Pittsburgh. Okay. But I know one guy that's not happy. He hit the free agent wire.
Patrick Peterson?
Kenny Vaccaro. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic. Sheldon Williams.
He could be in a Dallas uniform.
Well, not before Earl Thomas, perhaps. I don't know. But let's look at it like this. Let's talk about the other acquisitions possibly. Of course, the Saints went after Muhammad Wilkerson. That didn't work out too well. Then, of course, Sheldon Williams is on the mend. Sheldon Williams is a possibility, DC. Of course, he mirrors Muhammad, not as good as Muhammad Wilkerson is, but he is pretty damn good in his own right. He can play tackle or end. He's a utility knife. Odds are Sheldon Williams becoming a New Orleans Saint.
15%. I'd love to see it.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think he wants to get paid.
He wants money, man. But when you think about it, he only had 2.5 sacks the last 30 games. How much money does he really command? Seattle, you were over in Seattle. Seattle done cleaned out everybody.
Yeah.
But one thing that they kept some of their line intact and some of their front seven. They didn't try to sign him. That's not a good sign to other teams. So maybe it's a thing where if you wait him out long enough, we could wind up with him. But I don't think he's going to be a major money signing. I mean, this guy, the Jets didn't want you. I think he got caught speeding tickets and smoking weed and stuff.
He done a lot of stupid stuff.
Character concerns. You got that along with once you get your second shot. I mean, he didn't play amazing. Basically, you went over there in Seattle, and that was the last year of the Legion of Boom. It all got tore apart. Some people might want to say that's your fault.
The Legion of Boom got blew
I ain't
up,
saying it is, but you know that you never know how these guys can look at it. So it's a possibility. I think we would definitely sign a player like him. I don't think he's a major risk, but I just don't see him signing him right now because he's obviously going to win a lot of money. He's a good player.
Let's look at the tight end position. Now, the Saints, of course, obviously in the market for a tight end. They tried to get Jimmy Graham. They were competitive with him. Green Bay ultimately said, we're going to give you more guaranteed money. So the Saints couldn't quite match it. He decided to go north. There's other talk. There was early report prior to a couple of days ago
in the
about
draft and in free agency.
True. Then Austin Seferian-Jenkins was a guy that was made mention of. Then there was Tyler Eifert, who had a crap load of injury history. He's out there. Then, of course, Julius Thomas. That was Eric Ebron that was recently released by Detroit today. Then you have the Julius Thomas, who was released along with Ndamukong Suh. So
Dennis Pitta out there too? I think
I don't know
Dennis
Pitta.
Well.
I don't know. He's a good blocking tight end.
There,
right. So, hey, you know, the Saints in the market for tight ends.
75% chance we sign one of these tight ends.
Right. So let's narrow the numbers down for the people out there. Which one fits the bill for the Saints? Who's your pick for out of those guys we mentioned to be the next tight end for New Orleans Saints over Colby Fleener?
To be honest, I think it has a lot to do with the Jordy Nelson thing. Like I can make a case for different guys based on if we pull the trigger on that move. If we do get Jordy Nelson, then you're obviously going to want a tight end, one of these guys that can block a little bit, because you may be looking to trim the fat on Josh Hill as well as Colby Fleener. I don't know what this contract situation
I would say more Colby Fleener
like.
than I would say
You
Josh Hill.
might want to get rid of both of them. You know, and start over or draft a guy.
I don't know.
A lower end guy. Yeah, I mean, you just
That's
never know, man.
Touch, right.
It's a lot of options. Is all I'm saying. But chances are, I like for us to get Jordy Nelson, but I don't know if that can happen. It could, but then it couldn't. So you know, it's all up in the air. But let's say no Jordy Nelson. I think Julius Thomas is probably the perfect fit for a black and gold uniform. He could be.
You got Martellus Bennett too now.
And you got Martellus Bennett out there as well. That could be a guy we could sign if we got Jordy Nelson.
He would look good in the Saints uniform.
And he's not going to command a lot of money. Nobody ain't sold on him no more.
Right. He'll get a 1 year deal. Yeah.
Green Bay done got rid of him.
Right.
So that could be another guy. Julius Thomas, though, is the out of all of them, and Tyler Eifert. But Tyler Eifert is probably the most dominant out of all of them, but with the injury concerns, you know. Julius Thomas is probably the guy I could see in the black and gold uniform. Closest thing you could get to Jimmy Graham, poor man's Jimmy Graham, for cheap.
I'll tell you, I'm gonna give you my take. I think I would prefer Tyler Eifert.
I would prefer him too.
I would prefer, and I think you can get him on a 1 year deal. Right, and I
think we will sign.
If they could, Tyler Eifert would probably be my pick, and I would say why, because he's coming off injury. So he'll have a 1 year proven deal. He won't cost you a lot of money. Right. And I think that he'll fit well in the system at the Saints. He can catch the ball. He can block as well. He's a very professional guy. He won't have the maturity issues of an Eric Ebron type of deal. So the only thing, the issue is his health. Can he remain healthy? I think the Saints can put it together, a contract to get that guy in here. And he remains up, man. We'll have a few guys behind him like Hill and Hamo, man, whatever.
Well, pull the trigger there.
There we go.
Baby Mickey Loomis over here.
There we go. But
Ebron, somebody gonna pay him.
Somebody, I think they're gonna be
disappointed too.
But anyway, that's the first hour of the Sports Coma. Thank you for listening to us. We're coming back in the second hour. We're gonna be talking about the NFL news. We're gonna be hitting you with all the latest top 25 of the signings on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Stay with us.
Yeah.
You're listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
At The Posh Lifestyle, I go there for all my health needs. They offer great deals on organics, water filters, healing magnetics, healing crystals, clothing, books, DVDs, vitamins, and a lot more. They even have free shipping when you spend over $100 on most products. With secure online ordering, fast service, and great products, I save some money, and I'm improving my health doing it. It's a win-win. So do what I did. Go to shop.theposhlifestyle.com. That's shop.theposhlifestyle.com. That's shop.theposhlifestyle.com. So upgrade your lifestyle with The Posh Lifestyle and love what you do.
Let me tell you about a news site that carries the news that you would want to know. News that's not the same as the rest of lamestream media, but a site that lets you know about the most important news on health, economics, tech, entertainment, science, food, sports, world news, positive living, paradigm shift, and a lot more. Go to theposhreportonline.co.
To know who you are, you have to know where you come from. Honor and respect those who helped pave the way, working hard, sacrificing, saving, and building a future for you and your family. We are One United Bank, America's largest black-owned bank, with offices in Boston, Los Angeles, and Miami. We invite you to join our effort in building economic power in America by opening an account at www.oneunited.com. Join the movement today and make your money matter for you and generations to come.
Get ready, New Orleans. It's time for Big Q and the guys.
Listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, the best fucking sports podcast in the country.
Welcome to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guy, covering the NFL latest transactions, of course. To this episode, we're going to be talking about the latest, maybe 25 of the latest signed NFL players to their team. Of course, we usually cover the Saints, but this time around, we're doing a little something different in the offseason. We'll be covering the free agent frenzy that's currently going about, the top 25. That's right, top 25 free agent signings in this episode. So here we go. DC, my man to my left in studio with me.
What up?
And the first of the block, of course, is got to be the quarterbacks. You know, they're the prima donnas. And, of course, the top guy that everybody's talking about on day one is obviously Mr. Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins was able to he was the talk of the town. Minnesota were really aggressive. There were rumors linked to him, and guess what? Minnesota got their man. They signed Kirk Cousins to a 3-year deal with the Vikings that'll include $86 million in fully guaranteed money. And that's the source from Ian Rappaport from NFL.com relayed that information. So Kirk Cousins is the new Minnesota Viking quarterback on a landmark deal, quickly tell me what your response is.
Call me crazy, man, but
All right, crazy.
I'm not excited about it. Maybe I just got purple people eater hatred or something.
They giving this dude money to take him to Super Bowl, DC.
They give him a bunch of money, but Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. I'm going to say that. But I just feel like, far as, the type of stuff I see Drew Brees do, or Tom Brady, or Aaron Rodgers, like, the game on the line, and we need you to make that one crucial play. I think that's the one hole in Kirk Cousins' game. Maybe I'm being biased because he hasn't really had an opportunity. He played on a mediocre team. I wouldn't call him bad.
Is Kirk Cousins better than Case Keenum?
I don't know.
Well, let me answer that for you. I know he is. Okay. But does that mean that Kirk Cousins take the Minnesota Vikings to the Super Bowl where Case Keenum couldn't? No, it does not.
But Case Keenum has made those type of plays that I'm talking about.
Right.
That's why I say I don't know. Statistically, when you're just looking at numbers on a sheet, of course Kirk Cousins is better. When you're looking at, hey, we need this first down and it's 3rd and 17. Do I really want Kirk Cousins as my quarterback to make that happen? I don't know. I'm not saying no.
I like the move,
but I'm just saying I don't know. Of course, I like it. That's the best option they could have made.
Right. That's big.
Something about it. I'm just still not quite scared of the Vikings for some reason. I don't.
Maybe it's because you're a Saints fan. You might be scared of the Vikings. That's probably what it is.
I got purple people eater hatred.
Well, let's go to the number 2 free agent, and I know you'll like this guy, Drew Brees, quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. The Saints finally get it done. They wait all the way to the last possible time to get the deal done. So Saints-like. But they ultimately get the deal done. Now, the Breeze signs a deal according to the NFL Network. It says the Saints have agreed to a 2-year deal with Breeze worth $50 million. Now, we broke Breeze's contract down in the previous hour of this show. And if you want to hear it, we ain't going to go over it this time around. But if you want to listen to it, you can go and listen to the previous show. And we break that down in the first segment. But Drew Brees is a Saint, at least for 1 year. It says 2 years there, but we know the second year is just an option year. That probably won't renew. But quick thoughts on Drew Brees coming back to New Orleans.
Pretty much the same we did earlier in the show. It's amazing pickup. We wouldn't have a team without Drew Brees. We probably could be a 6 or 7 win team maybe without him. With him, that puts us in the 11, 12 to 13 win category. So this is an amazing signing, and we can continue our Super Bowl aspirations.
All right. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears, man. The Bears last year looked like they got a little oomph in their step after Mitch Trubisky took over. And he's the man now up there. And, of course, the team is looking to sign and put people around. And one of the first things they did was find the best available wide receiver in the free agency market, which was Mr. Allen Robinson, the former Jaguar that had that excellent year. And he's built as one of the league's most dangerous deep threats. He had a torn ACL in 2017, but he had a great season prior to that. With Jackson, he agreed to a 3-year deal worth $42 million with $25 million guaranteed. Good move for the Bears?
I'm looking at the money.
I would say yes, because they don't have any damn thing. They need to watch. They should have never let Alshon Jeffrey go. That's the bottom line. That was a dumb move.
I knew that was
stupid, dumb move. Now, of course, they had Kevin White up there, but he was dealing with so many injuries. But Alshon Jeffrey was the man. They should have never let that go, and then the cupboards were completely bare. And then you have to still pay wide receiver big money when you could have just paid Alshon Jeffrey.
How I felt about it?
Sure. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Stole the mic from me.
I just got a little upset. Well, you said you ain't know, so I had to say.
I was looking at the money.
Okay.
A lot of times when you got these free agency frenzies, a lot of people overspend. Mm-hmm. You get excited and you try to jump on people before other teams get them.
Right.
And Allen Robinson was a very amazing player in 2015, but 2016 his ACL was completely fine and he threw up a dud. So. I'm not really sure. I think this is one of those things where you're gonna have You're gonna have to see. It's a gamble. It's a risk. For the money they signed him to, is what makes me a little uneasy. Like if I'm looking at it from a Saints perspective, being a Saints fan. What if we would have signed him to this money, having the salary cap that the Bears have? I still would feel the same way. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, we got Robinson. It's
you saying not enough body of work to
right for that type of money. He had basically one good year, But Trubisky, I think, is a better precision passer than the guy over there in Jacksonville, who I can't remember his name right now for whatever reason. But
Blake
Bortles, yeah,
that's the guy.
You know, he's better accurate passer than him. So I don't know. Maybe he rekindles the flame with Robinson. Then you got Kevin White coming back finally after like 2 years, and then you got Gabriel too. So they might have a dangerous receiving core.
Well, let's move on to the next thing. We got Mr. Sammy Watkins, who was going to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, you want to talk about body of work, DC. This guy gives you a body of work now. Sammy Watkins, had a pretty good years with Buffalo, had a few injuries there. Then he went out to Los Angeles, did pretty well for them. Now he gets a payday. A 3-year deal with the Chiefs, estimated about $48 million, with $30 million guaranteed on the 24-year-old wide receiver with first-round potential talent. What is your thinking with the Chiefs hooking up with this, with Watkins and that young quarterback in Kansas City?
I think this is probably the only move they could have made at this time. And Watkins, watching what the Rams did, he was definitely a huge part of that, even though his stats weren't as high as I guess the guy Woods, but you got to think he freed up a lot for Woods to be able to do that.
Right.
So Sammy Watkins is a top-tier player, man. I've watched him for a long time. He had a lot of injury concerns, but if he can get past that, I mean, this guy's only 24 years old. He's already been through hell, NFL hell.
Really.
You know, so if he's the player we all think he is, he's a prime candidate for best comeback season, in my opinion.
Right. He's definitely, I agree with you.
They have nobody else to throw to except you got a tight end, you got Hill, and you got him. It's a perfect situation. Then they got a nice running back and a quarterback with a cannon for an arm, bro. Like, how does it not work?
Well, let's look on to the next offensive lineman. Now, the top offensive lineman on free agent, Mr. Andrew Newworld, who comes over from the Carolina Panthers. Now, he was there amongst with the Matt Khalil and Trey Turner and the rest of those guys. Carolina decided not to re-sign him. Felt like it was better to leave him not. Now, he's playing at a Pro Bowl caliber level.
Thank you,
and Carolina gave him up to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who paid him and made him the richest offensive lineman in the league. A 5-year deal worth $66.5 million with $30 million fully guaranteed. It roughs out for like $13 million a season. Yeah. Mr. Andrew Norwell is the new Jaguars offensive lineman. What's the thoughts on that quickly?
Great signing, man.
They needed help, and they got it.
They needed help on that line. They got it. It's pretty much one of the only holes on that team other than low-level quarterback play from time to time. I can't see anything wrong with that signing. I mean, it's a lot of money, but they got money to spend and
money to burn.
We faced Carolina, and we know this dude is the real deal, man.
I'll tell you what, Carolina gonna look like a total different team when we face them next year.
I think that's their whole thing, because they want to throw us off. We obviously know everything they do.
Right, we beat them three times in a row.
But they still got the same defense.
Yeah. Let's go to the next free agent. Another prima donna quarterback, Case Keenum. The man with the plan who took Minnesota to the doorstep of the Super Bowl, didn't quite get in, got blasted by Philly. Shouldn't have never got there. The Saints, if Marcus Williams would have made that play, but that's the subject of another day. Case Keenum is now taking his talents to Denver as he signs a 2-year contract with the Broncos. Now, he settled for, last year he settled for $2 million in the free agency period. Now he should get some pretty good money, sign that 2-year deal with the Broncos. Thoughts on Case Keenum as the Denver Broncos' new quarterback?
I'm not excited because I think the Broncos, where they at, I just expect more out of them. Case Keenum is not a bad quarterback. Again, I think he's good. I think it's a good move, but I just expected more from the Broncos. Watching them let Talib go, and then you sign Case Keenum, and you pretty much don't do much else. I don't see how this is going to magically transform the team from what they were last year.
And to be honest, with just a 2-year deal, so they could very well take a quarterback and have Keenum to hold until they get there. I mean, don't seem like something they just.
It right now.
Like
it's
like
let it pan out,
serviceable deal. Like, let's see what he made.
If they draft Baker Mayfield or something, then
right.
Who knows how you look at it then? We might have a Mike Glennon situation like the Bears going on.
That's true, too. Let's go to the next guy, Mr. Malcolm Butler. Of course, the Saints was supposed to be locksteady with this man for years. But when he comes out, first thing he do is follow his buddy Logan, who signed with the Titans last year. He follows him to Tennessee. Man. So there you go. He signs with the Tennessee Titans, 5-year contract worth more than $61 million with $30 million guaranteed, DC, before we hit the break. thoughts on Mr. Malcolm
Again,
Butler?
like the rest of these signings, a gang of money. Great signing for Tennessee. Tennessee is sneakily doing some stuff in free agency. I think they made some good moves. Good move to get Malcolm Butler to pair up with a pretty decent defense. They need to fix that linebacker hole where they gave Avery Wilkinson.
That was a big move. Losing him, I think they might be looking at the draft to fix that. But anyway, when we come back on the other side of the break, we got some more free agents to cover. We got Tremaine Johnson, Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Bradford, Brashard Breeland, and a handful of other guys that made jumps to other teams. We'll fill you in, and plus more for more signings in this full show. You're listening to the Sports Coma as we cover the top 25 free agents.
In a world of corporate propaganda, support the true independents, telling it like it is with no teleprompter. Go to www.theposhlifestyle.com, life spelled L-Y-F-E, and donate to keep independent media strong. Donate now.
What up, sports world? This Big Q from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. And I'm here to tell you about the website, theposhlifestyle.com. The Posh, P-O-S-H, life spelled with a Y-L-Y-F-E style.com. You can go there and get all of your natural and organic needs met. Herbs and supplements for all over the body, healing crystals, beautiful jewelry, ionizers, alkalizers, and water filters to take all of the fluoride, the chlorine, and all of the filth out of your water. They got personal products, natural soaps. They even got deodorant without aluminum in it that is known to cause cancer. Dig that. Also books and entertainment to educate yourself. And they have a lot of EMF protection and healing magnetics. Now, you know EMF, that helps. They have diodes you can place on your phone or on certain electrical gadgets that can neutralize the harmful EMF radiation. Dig that. All of that is on sale at theposhlifestyle.com. Dozens of products, easy to use website. I use it all the time. Very easy to use and very safe. Protected website. You can go there, feel safe, and shop. I shop there all the time. You can go there and give us a donation. Anyway, you go check them out. The Posh Lifestyle. Go to theposhlifestyle.com. Check them out. Poshlifestyle.com. Check them out. Get your mind and body right with the Posh Lifestyle.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Argue, the new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelicans.
Attention, everyone.
Get breakdown on games, free agent signings, and potential moves. Unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Balance. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad G.J. Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.
Forget ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Welcome back to the Sports Coma as we cover the top 20 or 25 free agents, whatever time permits. Let's get right into it, DC. covered Malcolm Butler from the previous break. Let's get into Tremaine Johnson. Of course, Tremaine Johnson, the top cornerback from the Rams, he hit the market. They had a transition tag on him. The Jets pick him up. They sign him to a $15 million deal to bring him in there. So what you thinking on Tremaine Johnson as the Jets' new cornerback?
I think it's a good move per se, bad money move. But hey, the Jets rolling in the door, so they could do that.
Guy made $30 million over the last 2 years.
He getting paid, man. He's just he wasn't even in the Pro Bowl.
They just like big cornerbacks, man.
I don't get it. Like he not. Don't get me wrong. Tremaine Johnson's not a bad cornerback, but
the dude ain't Deion Sanders, bro.
No.
Come on. Teddy Bridgewater to the same Jets club. Bridgewater, of course, sat behind Case Keenum, and he finally came back from that surgery on that on his knee. Now he's back at it. He signs a 1-year deal worth $15 million with the Jets. Teddy Bridgewater is a Jet. Quick thoughts.
Must see TV. Get your popcorn ready. I'm looking forward to the quarterback competition between him and Josh McCown, man. I really would love to see Bridgewater get his career back online, man. I think he's an excellent quarterback.
Sam Bradford is also one of those famed Viking quarterbacks. Bradford leaves to much warmer climates in the deserts of Arizona. He is the new quarterback for the Cardinals now, signing a 1-year deal worth $20 million. Thoughts on Sam Bradford as the starting quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals? Overpaid for that guy big time.
Eric Weddle, I'm with you, dog.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
with you.
Man, come
Sam
on.
Bradford has made more money, as Eric Weddle said, in the NFL for doing nothing than anybody in NFL history. And he right.
He's right.
He right.
Big, that's really good. Okay, next, Brashad Breeland. I like Brashad Breeland. He played next to Josh Norman in Washington. They let him go. He's streaky, but he's at the prime of his career. He signed a 3-year deal worth $24 million with the Panthers with $11 million guaranteed. The Panthers got a new cornerback. Thoughts?
I hate it because we got to play them.
Breeland is a tough guy.
Breeland is a pretty good cornerback, man. Smart move, Carolina. I wish we would have been smart enough to get to him before we did. I mean, this would have been a better move than Patrick Robinson.
Would have been a real solid move because you can unseat Crawley, push Crawley to the nickel position.
He love unseating Crawley.
I love
every
unseating
chance you get.
Crawley.
He's a second-year player. Q. He played amazing last year. He's just a second-year guy.
He is not better than Breeland, though, is he?
No.
Okay, let's talk about the next guy, Nate Solder. The top tackle in the free agency market. He finds a home, moves from the New England Patriots to the New York Giants. How about that kind of jump? He signed a 4-year, $62 million contract with 35 of it guaranteed to join the Giants and to plug in at that massive hole they had at left tackle for at least the last 2 years. God. Quick thoughts on what the Giants got to protect Eli.
Thank you, because I was tired of seeing Eli get the snot bubbles knocked out of him. Flowers is not the guy. Y'all just need to go ahead and just give up on that. So
okay.
Thumbs up for the Giants, man, so that Eli can stay right up.
I know
he don't sound
probably
retarded when he retires.
Eli probably put some of his own money up to put Nate Solder. Next move, Richard Sherman, man, he gets released from the Seattle Seahawks. So to thank the the city of Seattle and the Seattle organization, he chose their bitter rivals, the San Francisco 49ers, to sign with him. And now Richard,
I'm petty like
that. 3-year, $39 million. Big up to Richard Sherman because he is his own agent. That is all his money. $39 million. He goes to the Niners. Quick thoughts.
Intelligent move, Richard Sherman. Get your paper, bro. But I don't think he's gonna look like Richard Sherman in Seattle. That scheme gone. And if you watch Seattle and you know once Earl Thomas got hurt or Chancellor got hurt, it didn't quite look the same.
Yeah,
I can't blame it all on Richard Sherman.
Might be safety Sherman.
He did look human once the Legion of Boom wasn't intact. But Richard Sherman is still a top-tier cornerback in this game, and he ain't nothing to laugh at. And I think he's going to surprise a lot of people, maybe even get a Pro Bowl, but I don't think he's going to be like a top 1 or 2 corner like we used to seeing.
Muhammad Wilkerson leaves the Jets confines. They end up playing for the Packers. Took a little tour, came to New Orleans, didn't like what they were offering, signed a 1-year deal worth $5 million, $3 million of it guaranteed with the Packers. Quick thoughts.
You fool! We would have gave you more money.
You won't play in the cold confines of Green Bay.
We gave it to you.
Yeah,
but, he ain't want to be here. Good move, Green Bay, man. Definitely gonna be a tough team to deal with him and Jimmy Graham. I don't know what Jimmy Graham had on this list, but I thought we
further along, we got to get a little further down. Carlos Hyde, former 49er, hard running back, had a few injuries. He signed a 3-year deal to play with the Browns, $15 million, 6 of it guaranteed in the first year. What's going on with that one? Quickly.
Great move for the Browns. Stupid move for the 49ers. Why would you let him go? Carlos Hyde played amazing last year, but maybe they know something we don't.
Next person up the bat is the guy you called for, Mr. Jimmy Graham.
There you go.
Okay, Jimmy had a fantastic season with Seattle last year, earned himself a contract. He came down and talked to Saints, said he wanted to come. The Packers said, nah, listen, we'll give you some better money. 3 years, 3-year deal, $30 million, 22 of it in the first 2 years. Quick thoughts on Jimmy Graham as a Packer.
Amazing signing, too much money. He's going to be great till he hurt his pinky finger.
And then you remember he doesn't like to block all that much. Next one, Nigel Bradham re-signs with the Eagles. Of course, he was the solid linebacker that helped them last year. 5-year, $40 million contract. Quick thoughts on Bradham going back to the Eagles.
Congratulations on getting your payday, man. You deserve it. Helped a major part of bringing that team to Super Bowl. He's the heart and soul of that defense, in my opinion, along with a few of those guys off the front interior. But great signing for them, man. Keep their team intact and try to make another Super Bowl push. But hopefully if y'all run against the Saints, we're going to knock y'all off.
Avery Williamson used to be with the Titans, a really tough player down there. He signs with the Jets. He joins the Jets, 3-year deal worth $22.5 million, $16 million of it guaranteed. Avery Williamson is the Jets' solidified interior defense. Quick thoughts?
Great signing, man.
Great
It's
signing.
A very good linebacker, young, fast. He can hit. He's not as bad in pass coverage as most people give it to him, so I think it's a great signing.
We're going to give you 3 more quickly before our break ends up. We got Deion Lewis, former New England everything guy, does it all, jack of all trade backs, get a nice deal with the Titans, 4 years, $20 million, plus $3 million more in incentives. Quick thoughts on a scat back, Mr. Everything, Deion Lewis with the Titans.
Dangerous, man. Top 5 running back tandem, him and Derrick Henry. You couldn't have got a better running back.
Thunder and lightning. Wow.
It's amazing, man.
Star Latulier, one of my favorite defensive linemen in the league, moves from the Carolina Panthers defense, playing next to Quan Short. He's now with the Bills, playing next to Kevin Williams up there. He gets a deal worth 5 years, a 5-year deal. We don't have the numbers on that one yet, but what you think about Star Latulier?
Money move.
Quite
good,
simple.
Good for the Bills, bad for him. Y'all ain't about to win nothing. But hopefully he get paid.
Star Latulier is the man. Okay, next one, Weston Richburg. Now, of course, Richburg was a center for the Giants. Standout, 26 years, missed a few games, 12 of them in 2017 because of a concussion. Considered the best center on the open market. Signed a 5-year deal with the 49ers to be the center. Quick thoughts on Mr. Weston Richburg.
They got to show that pressure up the middle for Jimmy Garoppolo so Jimmy G can do what he do, baby. Good move for the 49ers. They making real big moves over there. Dangerous team in the future.
A.J. McCarron, we got 2 more extras for y'all, then we're going to call it quits. A.J. McCarron, now he was the guy that everybody was talking about. A.J. McCarron backed up the Red Comet all those years. Now he's his own man. He has now signed a 2-year deal to be the Buffalo Bills quarterback. A.J. McCarron, quick thoughts on McCarron.
The heir apparent to the heir apparent. He can hold a seat warm just about long enough for somebody going to the bathroom during a high-profile playoff game.
Wow, that's cool. Remind me not to make you mad. Next one, Trey Burton, the fantastic guy, a tight end known for the Philadelphia special. He is now a Chicago Bear, signed a 4-year deal worth $32 million. He joins Allen Robinson in Chicago. Thoughts on Mr. Trey Burton?
Personally, overall package, youth, everything. This is probably the best tight end on the market outside of Jimmy Graham. Amazing deal by the Bears. If they didn't get him, I'm sure the Saints would have definitely got him.
Okay, let's keep going to the break hit, people. So we got Paul Richardson, former Seattle Paul Richardson, dangerous big play man. A lot of injuries against Paul Richardson. He signed with the Redskins. The Redskins gave this man a 5-year contract worth $40 million with $20 million of it guaranteed for Paul Richardson. Am I missing something here?
That's me giving Paul Richardson a high five. Seattle basically grabbed him off He was walking on the streets. They picked him up during the middle of the season, man. They didn't pay him anything.
Wow.
And the Redskins went and gave this guy $40 million. Hey, Q, you got some old football equipment? I'm about to run some sprints tonight.
Okay, we got a few more signings we're going to tell y'all about re-signings. Daquan Jones re-signed with the Tennessee Titans on a multi-year deal. So did Julius Pepper signed a 1-year deal to return to the Panthers. We also got Brent Grimes. He re-signed to go back to the Buccaneers on a 1-year deal worth $10 million. Morris Claiborne is up. Marquise Lee is one of the DC's favorite wide receivers outside the Saints. Signed a 4-year deal. This guy signed a 4-year deal up to $38 million with $18 million guaranteed to go back.
He got a lot of potential, that guy, the albino tiger.
Yo, ain't that something? And also, Prince Akamu Mamara, he signed a 3-year deal to go back to the Bears for $27 million in money. Josh Brown, who comes over from Arizona, signed an agreement to play with the Baltimore Ravens as well. Anthony Kitchens ends up from the Cowboys to the Chiefs with a deal worth about $9 million a year. And then Jerick McKinnon will finish that off.
Thank you for listening to the Pro Media Network, who provides hours and hours of free edutainment to you and yours. If you are benefiting positively from our content, please donate to help us grow our platform by going to www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. That's www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. And support the true independent artists.
What's up, world? This is DC from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Have you ever been sitting in front of your computer screen, or in traffic, tired, lacking energy, feeling drained? Did you know there are electromagnetic fields or EMF waves all around you that cause this disease? Get it? Dis-ease? Luckily here at Posh Lifestyle, you can get your EMF protection. They have pendants, the shell-dyed bricks, cubes, and pyramids. Check out the PoshLifestyle.com. That's life spelled with a Y. PoshLyfestyle.com for all your health needs. So get your mind and body right with a Posh Lifestyle.
Clear, clean, great-tasting filtered water. We're all thirsty for it. But in the U.S. alone, an estimated 2.5 million plastic bottles are added to the environment each year in search of the perfect drink of water. There has to be a better solution, and there is. Crystal Quest, a leader in the manufacturing of water filtration technology, has been providing clean, drinkable water for 20 years. Crystal Quest has been recognized by such leaders as Consumers Digest, Dr. Oz, and Colin Ingram's The Water Drinking Book, offering our customers the cleanest and most environmental-friendly drinking water at a rating of high purity. With Crystal Quest's water filtration technology, you can rest assured that your water will be crystal clear. Contact our network of authorized distributors and join our thousands of satisfied customers.
Just log into the PoshLifestyle.com. Once again, that is the PoshLifestyle.com.
Check out the Crown They Ass World podcast with 3 kings covering all the news and issues that affect you and the ones you care about. Only on the